Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Swain Baddy League, where I really hope my client didn't just bug out, and I don't think my client just bugged out, but my client might have just bugged out. I'm AJS0, I'm here with Hook Resets for Dive the Founder versus Table for 4, and thank goodness the bans are working.
Whew.
I just got, as they started the draft, I got a pop-up that just said, please try again.
Oh no.
Okay was the only button, so I was like, okay, and hope for the best. But we're in, and we're drafting, and we are already off to a very different tone in the first game, as we've got Aurelian Soul and Zoe being panned out here.
Yeah, focus on the mid lane pool. I know Evilite's been spamming the Zoe a little bit in normals and solo queue, so makes sense.
Yeah, actually, who's the fifth person for Table for 4? I just see Summoner 5. Alright, so that's Dan. That's probably actually a summoner name, isn't it?
I have a bedtime. He changed it last week, I'm pretty sure, actually.
Yeah. Was he just
he changed it again?
That's Dan. Alright, folks, we're gonna just call him Dan.
Just Dan.
So, if he wanted to be Gabe's bodyguard, he could have named himself Gabe's bodyguard.
Grounded.
It says Summoner 5. He changed his name to Summoner 5.
We probably have to get in the game to even see it.
I'm gonna call him Summoner 5 this game if I can. As everyone's probably getting very confused because I don't think you all can hear 30 responding to us. But alright, we're through the bans, so we've got a bunch of things targeted at the mid lane with a little bit at the jungle. Talia and Camille. I guess Camille probably could be targeted at the top lane. No, I think that's gonna be
jungle. It's
yeah, it's gonna be a
Kaiser's.
Kaiser pick. That is not a coffee pick.
Definitely not. I think Coffee actually played Tryndamere last week.
2 weeks ago. Coffee was MIA last week. Last week we had the big Conductor Dank emergency sub play the Blitzcrank.
Right. The Blitzcrank. I forgot about that.
But we are hopefully going to be back to something a bit more normalized here. As this kind of a big game for Table for 4. They've won 2 of their last 3, including the huge win over Enemy Gate is Down last week. And if they win here, they will be pretty much secured the 4th seed heading into the playoffs.
And they're picking the Singed for Freg. He did a really good job last week of just getting in the enemy's face, at my enemy's face, and just pretty much being an annoyance. Singed, a pick that not many top laners in the SBL have seen played here, but very strong.
Playstyle wise, could be something I could see Coffee struggling against. But we'll see. Maybe Coffee just goes back to that Tryndamere and says, I'll take your farm and I'll fight you late game.
And picking the Sejuani into the Trundle again. One problem about picking Sej into Trundle is he can steal your armor's stats. Sejuani has a passive that basically gives her extra magic resist on 1 hit, and Trundle can steal that all away, and it's really painful. But let's see if that interaction goes through. They also picked up Vladimir. I suppose I could go either mid lane or bot lane. It's not secured flex pick, so.
Yeah, East Coast Carry did play Heimerdinger last week. He has played Vladimir earlier this season, although it did not go super well. Whereas I believe this would be a first-time pick for Evelites if he ran it.
Yeah, probably more assuming it going into the bot lane with that Braum. Bit even awkward, because Braum really wants his AD to be able to, or bot laner, to be able to auto-attack with him, and Vlad's not about that life. So.
But at least if it isn't the bot lane, it's hard to imagine Braum Vladimir ever dying to Morgana.
True. Morgana really, really good at catching people, but doesn't always translate.
Yeah, and Braum and Vlad aren't that concerned about being caught. And with the Syndra ban coming out from Table for 4, I think they are also expecting that Vladimir to go to the bot lane. As we'll probably see some more punishment to Avalite's pool.
A very heavy AP team right now, coming Vladimir, Sejuani, and if we're assuming it to be an AP mid laner, this could be
pretty heavy AP team on the other side though too, with the Singed and the Morgana already picked.
But their
Not
carries
as
still
heavy,
haven't been
but
picked.
yeah. But
We haven't,
I like a good magic damage game.
we haven't seen Gabe actually play an ADC in 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
He
So.
played Kaisa last week, but before
Oh,
that it was
yeah.
Ziggs, Lux, Ezreal, which would be what he's played since joining this team.
Probably gonna play Kaisa again. I don't see a reason not to.
Yeah, Kaisa seems like it would be a really smart pick here.
Well, she has mixed damage, so but still she does plenty.
Or Jinx.
Or
Well,
Jinx.
The new meta, dude. Who's gonna jump that Jinx? As long as he doesn't get Sejuani'd, he's got to feel good about what he's playing into so far. As Caitlyn though coming out.
Caitlyn, not a good pick right now, but
you take that back.
No, she's bad.
She did get a. You can go to jail for that.
What? Just because she's the sheriff doesn't mean she can't lock me up from here. She doesn't know. That's too metagamey. I don't.
I am always excited to see some Caitlyn. I like seeing anyone attempt to lane bully. It's going to be Echo coming out with this last pick here. So I know Mr. Coffee has drastically changed his champion pool. So if that's going to the top lane, like I assume it is, that's going to be a brand new pick from the coffee shop.
What are the chances that it's Ryzak playing top lane Echo and Coffee on Braum support?
I was wondering about that. Oh, I was thinking Coffee in the jungle.
I don't think they'd move Kaiser out, but...
Well, we'll find out in a moment, I guess. But my gut's telling me Coffee top lane.
Ryzak, or Vladimir top lane. I didn't even consider that. Vlad's fine top laner. This is all going crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they're done trading yet. So we can talk about Table for 4 for a moment here as they round things out with this Lissandra. They picked Disenchanted Rand last week in their huge win over EGD. So I mean, I don't blame them for sticking with it. I like this pick for an SPL team. It's just somebody that goes in and goes forward. Yeah, your teammates are forced to follow.
Yeah, it's also really good at just locking one thing down, which presumably that Echo or Vladimir.
Yeah, and it looks like DTF is probably done doing their trading, so it's going to be Amalite and Ryzak in the solo lanes with teleport on Mr. Coffee's Braum. Is that a mistake?
No, it switched at the very last second. I think that it's a bug. That
God-damned spectator clients. Riot, indie game company, you all know the drill.
But it will be Ryzak on the top lane Vladimir. Have we seen Ryzak play top lane? Or was that a different player?
He's played it 2 of the last 3 weeks. He had a Kled and Ornn game to his name. As this DTF squad has really tried just about every combination of players and roles they can think of. And they haven't really been able to find any fire.
Yeah, and just looking at these team comps, Table for 4 actually has a very balanced team fight with the Morgana putting a black shield on Singed, Trundle and him just going in the backline, Lissandra ulting herself, with Jinx pretty free, besides a couple dives, but like Vladimir and Echo only have the Jinx to truly dive. It's going to be a very awkward team fight, so we'll have to see how they play it out. But
user disconnected from your channel.
I agree, Cal. We will have to see how they play it out. But this is going to be strange for me because when you have the Singed, you assume you're going to be opting into a lot of 4-1 situations where the Singed is going to split push. And obviously Frag playing that Ignite top lane like he always does, going to probably keep opting into that situation, going to try to get a big lead in Snowball. And
user joined your channel.
The Lissandra Jinx, they are going to have a lot of trouble wave clearing if they're in the 4v5 situation, especially against a Caitlyn who always wants the siege. So there's going to be a lot of give and take between these two comps where Freg is split pushing, but then the 4 have trouble holding in the mid lane. So I think this is going to be really about the first 15 or 20 minutes, and whichever team can get kind of one of those advantages early, comps might just be thrown out the window at that point.
a lot of the times, in games recently as this meta, it just turns out that the early game wins the game because that first turret is still so important, and after that's gone, it just snowballs. That is this meta right now. So definitely look for early ganks, early roams from both Lissandra and Echo, honestly. So.
Yeah, and be a bit of pressure on Disenchanted, the only teleport on the team, as Greg does not take teleport ever. So there's a lot of weird ways this game could play out. I'm actually really excited to see these two comps go at each other.
I want to be looking mainly at the mid lane. Evilite on another possible split pusher, possible just all-in champion. Like, he was on Cassin last week. It didn't go that well. He tried splitting, but couldn't get involved in fights. I want to see him have a lot more impact this game, and we'll see how Disenchant's Dishonor goes in his second game of it. So.
Yeah, that's true. The Evilite's not on a backline mage factor is something we hadn't mentioned yet. But they have... Evilite specifically has struggled. That Cassin game, that was just... It was rough to watch last week. He looked totally lost, and he's going to have some pretty similar responsibilities here on the Echo.
But without teleport, so I assume he's going to be looking to group up more often. Definitely cleanse is a must against Lissandra. There's so many ways of locking you down. And Morgana, actually. It's pretty good all around. Level 1s.
Give me the team fight.
But
They will not give me the... They could give me the team fight. We got table for 4. No, not giving me the team fight.
it looks like Died the Fountain wanted to do something, and then they just... Ryzak was not having it. Everyone's...
And they're gonna just go anyways. This is East Coast Carry leading the charge. And we can see these teams kind of trading some vision here as Captain Space Force did get a ward down at the opposing blue. Does Ryzak have vision? No, Ryzak did not have vision.
He was looking down.
There. No, I don't think he actually saw Frank. I think the bush was blocking his field of view. But doesn't end up mattering. It's just an auto attack from the Singed, and nothing's going to happen. These guys are going to ward the opposing blues and retreat into their own jungles. But at least Dive the Fountain will know that the enemy team started at blue.
Yeah, kind of miss the older meta of where teams always had to get one really far back ward to see where the bot lane was going because their lane swapping was so important, and that was always something interesting. But that is no more. So lane swaps very outdated.
Yes, we now 2v2 every game, like real honorable men.
If Singed can't push in Vladimir, he might have a bit of a tough time.
Oh,
He's actually doing really low.
Yeah, Greg shrunk down to a bar of health really early, and he's already recalling. This is a recalling Singed at level 1 with no teleport. Okay, he's gonna cancel that recall, but Wani's already doing that north scuttle. This can get spicy in this top lane. Although he does, Frank does get a ward down, so.
He doesn't have flash, but didn't matter.
Yeah, I was like watching my minimap more intensely than the bot lane trade there.
Yeah, bot lane, there shouldn't be anything going on besides farming, honestly. Maybe if Kate can get some autos, she might be able to bully a little bit, but...
Yeah, and Freg did not take long to get back to full health, as Ryzak actually takes a lot of damage on that trade.
I did not know that Singed Slip actually interrupts Vladimir's Pool of Tides, I believe it's called, his E. Look like, oh, he's going.
Yeah, he flips Ryzak out of the turret. The ignite comes down.
He's not gonna kill him.
Yeah, both these guys walk out as Vladimir didn't even have to flash, so that's 2 summoners for nothing.
And he's just gonna teleport back and be fine.
awkward. But meanwhile in this bot lane, East Coast carry is starting to get a pretty big damage advantage here, as both Game O'Neal and Summoner 5 have been taking some damage.
Yeah, this Caitlyn's working out for him right now. Frank's getting collapsed on. He has no summoners.
Yeah, now Ryzak with that flash still available. Kaiser gonna flash as well, and the red buff going to secure it. First blood going to Kaiser Sejuani.
Hey, surprised Freg stayed after taking such a heavy trade, but good recognition out of Kaiser to camp top lane.
Yeah, but Captain Space Force is moving around behind this bot lane. They see him kind of late, and there they get the CC down, but it's on Mr. Coffee, not on East Coast Carry. Coffee, though, still has the flash damage ticking from this Ignite, but he's going to survive. And actually, East Coast Carry putting down some good damage, nearly gets the kill on the Gabe, who has to keep running. East Coast Carry does have his summoners available, so if Gabe stops, and yeah, he's not going to stop. And that's a win for DTF.
Slightly. They did. It was just a summoner trade, but Flash a little bit more important than Ignite.
Yeah, but Coffee's Flash maybe less importance than any other Flash that could have been used there. Obviously, Braum. It's hard to kill Braum, man. I don't like it. I never liked it. It was boring to lane against Braum because no matter how well you traded, you always had half his health left.
Yeah. Just the stun from his Q and the slows. It's really a pain, all in all.
Yeah, so it's that turns into a pretty big creep advantage for East Coast Carry, who we've kind of been waiting to see a big performance out of this season. You know, he's one of the diamond players coming into the league, and he actually buying a call here on his first recall, going for call boot, so he does not quite want to snowball the spot lane just yet.
Do you hear this Ignite on Ryzak's Vladimir permanently?
Yeah. Hopefully he can do us a favor and die sometime and fix that. And
maybe right now.
Maybe, yeah, gonna take a little half his health trade, I guess.
Yeah, he does have health pots to get back to full, but he's gonna be grounded. Okay, well, no, Vladimir.
Yeah, this is a awkward top lane matchup, but Freg... Oh, actually, that's a big flip, and now Ryzak is running away from his turret, but Freg doesn't follow. This top lane is now going to have Captain Space Force in and around it, gets the pillar. Ryzak, no summoners available. Going to be flashed on by Captain Space Force, and that was a waste, but
yeah,
a kill's a kill, and it's on to Freg.
Yeah, honestly, Ryzak wasted his flash when they were ganking on him, but we don't have time to talk. Kaiser's coming down.
Yeah, you know, he's not level 6 yet, so it's going to be hard to get any CC to stick here, but they do get some damage, but they actually take a lot of damage. The second bot lane fight in a row where the 3 versus the 2 and the 3 takes more damage.
Yeah, a big win for TFF is they're probably going to get first turret here. So.
Yeah, that's actually super early. 6.5 minutes here, that top lane turret going down, which is going to give Freg full control of doing everything Singed has ever dreamed of.
Proxying for days.
Yeah, and I actually... is a kind of a bigger picture thing here. East Coast Carry with this call, I do not like it. Now, you know bot lane in its current state better than I do. Maybe you have more insight than I have here.
I never see cold bot.
Yeah, and it's just, to me, so much of this game involves Caitlyn getting a snowball rolling. And who cares if Caitlyn... Ryzak could be in some danger here. Frank could be in some danger here. I don't really know. Ignite going down onto Ryzak, and he is running a long way with his turret. Gets destroyed by that pillar of filth, and Captain Space Force puts himself on the board with another kill out of the Vladimir.
That was pretty disgusting. Ryzak, not... Look at all the wards of red team right now in that jungle. Ryzak is not safe to go up and farm, and he needs to understand that. As he's a support player, I would assume he's a support main, so maybe he doesn't understand when you have to back off, when you just have to give the lane over. But it was good off of Captain Space Force and Freg to kind of team up on him and bully this support main.
Yeah, they wanted the Singed rolling. The Singed is rolling. 1,000 gold advantage already onto Freg. At least for Isaac's sake, he will have his Summoners finally both back up. But back into this bot lane. I don't think the DTF has time for East Coast carry to let a Cull get burned through and build towards a late game where the Jinx is going to outscale anyways. They needed to get the snowball rolling early, and they had a big CS advantage. They're just using that big CS advantage to cash in a Cull now.
Yeah, this isn't... They do
like it. And they're
gonna need it back pretty soon here.
Yes, we'll see what Caitlyn is able to do. I'm assuming it's going to be a shove and a recall here, not any turret damage, as they don't have the stats to really shred through a turret yet.
One thing that I would say is even worse than a Cole buy is a second Doran's Blade buy. But Gabe may disagree with me on that.
But one thing that is actually good for League of Legends, Infernal Drake, first in the game, and it's going to be free over to DTF here, as that was a smart play I had forgotten about.
Yep.
But Frank is going to get another kill.
He has Ghost, and
yeah,
Ryzak has his flash up though.
Yeah, but Ryzak,
he's not going towards the wall. He's just gonna die.
I'm sorry, Ryzak, but the way I watch you path, I don't understand what you're trying to do in basically any of these engagements. I don't know if he's like trying to outsmart Frag by just running down the river and away from all of his safety every time they fight, but it just ends up in him dying every time. And this is a disaster among disasters in the top lane for DTF right now.
Kind of awkward for DTF bot lane too, because they didn't get the back.
Yeah, now Disenchanted is coming, looking for the turret down. Captain Space Force here as well. Disenchanted though, maybe getting a little separated from his team. Ryzak is joining on the teleport, but it was cancelled? No, there it is, never mind, sorry. But it's a 1-for-1 so far as they're fighting on top of Space Force. He ended up getting split from his team here, so this should be a 1-for-2 as now Summoner 5 coming forward. Jinx does not have an ult available anymore as the Sin should kind of roams. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Table for 4. And they're going to get some pressure onto this turret as well, I think, while Frag is pushing the mid lane on top of it.
Probably the only reason that fight was so awkward is because East Coast carry right now is sitting on 2,000 gold. He didn't get the back after that Infernal Drake, and Jinx did. So that's the main reason this is awkward. And they're not winning that 4v5 that they should have been able to clean up with Frag without teleport. But
yeah, just a lot of bad macro here out of DCF. Little things adding up into bigger things, and now this map is feeling really out of control. As I'm always gonna try to put some damage down on the Frag, put some good damage down on the Fragus. He's got an all damage build, but it doesn't matter. Frag's happy to back. He's sitting on 1,700 gold, by the way. That is almost a 2k gold lead on Ryzak at the 11-minute mark. As Summoner 5 taking some damage here, but they get a nice root onto Mr. Coffee. And Braum is tanky, but not tanky enough. Gabe O'Neal gonna shoot the ult. I think he might have died even if he flashed.
It's possible. I don't think Captain Space Force had ulted him.
Yeah, if he flashed earlier in that engagement, it would have been different though. As kind of a tilty ult coming through out of Caitlyn. Actually, no, maybe Kaiser and Evelite are going to chase this one down. Evelite, gonna have a red buff ticking away. Isn't enough. Captain Space Force. Oh, he gets the slow. Captain Space Force being chased down. Evelite watches. Evelite gets it, and he ults out.
Yeah. He might not even had to ulti. He could have just cleansed it if he was really in danger, but like, well done by Evilite and DTF to catch them out.
Yeah, now they're going aggressive on the Disenchanted here, and he's going to have to ult defensively. He is in a bad place, tries to W out, does not get to. Ryzak is now worth gold again. But two good things in a row there for DTF. They're going to get some turret pressure here, both mid and bot lane, and maybe get a chance to start turning this game around.
Little by little. They do need turret pressure. That's their one main thing here. Mid lane, a little bit heavier damage, but since all of TFF
no one knows Frag is there. Will they check? Kaiser doesn't check, and Frag takes this 1v2 opportunity. This is very aggressive, even by Frag's standards, but it's still going to get him a kill. He's probably happy to trade, and it's He's not gonna
He's
gonna win. Greg 1v2, 1-4-2. Meanwhile, Ryzak though chasing on the Summoner 5, but the snare is gonna land from the Morgana, and both these guys are gonna walk away from each other. But now Jinx putting down the damage in the mid lane and going to take the turret.
DTF did manage to get bot lane finally, but Ryzak taking a lot of damage for that Morgwind.
Yeah, now this is a Jinx. This is going to be fast and hard damage onto this turrets. East Coast Carry just now getting there, and maybe not as much damage as I thought it would be, but still, very good place for Table for 4 to be in at this point. Up a little over 2,000 gold, got some gold in some good places, and just I don't know. This looks like it's going to just be, the map pressure feels overwhelming for Table of 4. They have so many different ways they can play this game out. And it feels like DTF already has to be kind of perfect to start slowing this game down.
Yeah, they definitely the biggest issue for DTF right now is going to be that Singed. What are they going to be able to do to deal with them? They don't have hard CC other than the Sejin Braum, and it's just so awkward. He already has the Merc Treads build too, so he's just going to be running pretty amok in the backline.
Yeah, we already know Frag can handle a 1v2 at this point.
He's got plenty of biscuits and corrupting potions, but
yeah, he's got friends coming up to
team's
him.
coming.
I guess at this point it's Mr. Coffee going to ward, gonna get caught, gonna ult into a flash. That was one of the worst Braum ults you will ever see.
He's
Mr.
gone.
Coffee is going to waste this flash to die as well. Very, very poorly played from DTF bot lane. Very little game sense there, as that was a pretty easy roam to see coming, even without vision. And they not only die, they blow flashes and ults in the process.
And they're gonna get and all these things that are coming up too. Dragon's about to be up. They're gonna get Rift Herald. This is really scary. Are they looking to contest? They need to be doing something else on the map. They can't just stare at them from across the river.
Yeah, well, they're going to do a lot of that staring across the river. Frag will get some pressure in the bot lane, but his Nightmare Frag is about to meet him at that turret. And Rift Herald is over to Table for 4.
Now they're gonna look for Dragon. Yep. Objectives all around going in favor of TFF. They have all the outer turrets. This Rift Herald should be able to help them even get in closer. We'll see. Looks like everyone wants a team fight here.
Yeah, Ryzak potentially on the flank. He does have a flash get in this pit as well if he wants to go crazy, but it looks like Table for 4. They're willing to play this fight pretty slow. Now we see the 5 got him, but Ryzak going in deep, has to pop the pool pretty defensively, but this is a fight committed to. As Ryzak is putting down some good damage from his backline. He's actually soloing down Summoner 5, nearly gets the kill in the 1 vs 5, but his team is not able to get in there with him. And they do, you know what they could have used there on that ramp? Bravo. They didn't have it. They wasted the last one. Maybe it's not bad. It doesn't have to go a little too deep. But not here to the side, but so many home runs are being melted right here. This fight is a disaster on both sides, but it's Evelyn and East Coast Carry trying to put down damage as they're running, and I don't think East Coast Carry is getting away. That was a very, very greedy flash. But no! He flipped it into his 80 carry! And now Frank is further from East Coast Carry. The Kalen off the auto's coming down. Frank, you madman! You just cost your team the fight!
Yeah, he's still at Ignite. He should have just sat on top of him. I don't know what he was doing. Caitlyn can't do enough damage. The only reason she killed him was because he was so far away. She just got an ulti, and that was very silly from Frag. Into a fight that'll just let DTF scale a little bit. Evil Eye actually wasted a lot of the backline's time with that Echo, and he's pretty strong. 4-1 and 3, 4-1 and 2 are the carries right now for Guide the Fountain.
The big thing for me is if this team opts into 5 vs 5s, they have the gold in the right places.
Yeah.
And we maybe see another Dragon contest here as there are some bodies in the pit. Table 4 will have more of them.
Yeah, this Dragon should go over to them pretty smoothly.
Yeah, Avalanche is going to go for a cheeky steal over the wall there, as he's not going to get it.
He didn't even smite it, that's bold.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. But Vladimir once again running into his greatest nightmare, Freg the Singed player.
Hey, he has Ignite. He's
Yeah, I don't
for
think
it.
he's gonna
Oh
use
my
it.
gosh.
He's
You don't-
gonna take
he's
his
gonna
sweet
kill
time.
him?
There it is.
Oh my gosh. All he has is Leanders, man. That shouldn't be how it works. He has 2 Dark Seals too, I guess, but... Right.
That's
Singe
16
is a
stacks
ghost
on
gem.
those Dark Seals, dude.
Yeah, you have to question why they banned Darius over the Singe, because I think that Singe pick last week was really huge for his team. Maybe a little bit of under preparation.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into playing against Freg. It's a very unique experience, and I will believe he will flip anyone. I don't care who it is. Sejuani into his team, why not? As he is really
Keep running forwards.
Yeah, forces his any team back. Although he's now starting to take some damage. Just give me a second. Avalanche playing aggressively. What's that for the damage? And Singe is already down. Now the Caitlyn is here as well. It is this chance it doesn't kill him, Mr. Coffee though, but this is still looking good for DTF. It's a one. Actually, maybe not. East Coast carry under some pressure. It's 2 for 2 right now. As I thought that was going to be a really good fight for table for Dive the Fountain, but it ends up being even.
They will force the Rift Herald to come out, which I don't think should get it. Get this turret. It does get a charge off, but not enough damage.
Yeah, all things considered though, with the map pressure the table for 4 had, when they got that Rift Herald, I would have expected it to turn into something big, and it doesn't. So a win for DTF is they have really de-escalated this game.
Yeah, really important for them to let this Vladimir and the Echo get a couple items, get Caitlyn to a bigger Pyro Spike, and she does right now have almost a 3,000 gold advantage over her counterpart with a full item over, so he's doing a lot more in these fights. The fact that Freg got popped so early was why I thought they should have won that fight easily, but this, just a little bit awkward team fights in the jungle, and anything can happen, I assume.
Yeah, and we get a pause here.
Like, Coffee's
Which-
having some problems.
Maybe would give us a chance to, I don't know what 30 needs to do to fix these stream lag that's going on. Not that the pause is related to that, I was just curious if we have a chance to reset anything if we need to real fast while this game is paused. But never mind, these teams are ready, so children happen. Mr. Coffee is a father, and he's fathering a lot of children. You know, he's got 2 in real life, and he's making sure that all of his children on the enemy team have some extra gold to go to college with in this game. We appreciate what he does for the world. He's a good guy.
You think one of his kids is playing for him right now in these games? What are the chances? Playing the Braum. It's not too hard of a champion.
I think his daughter would be playing the Tryndamere. His daughter's not playing that support shit. Coffee's raising her. Flanking aggressively, and that's actually some big slows coming out. Avalanche doing some damage out here. This looks good for Dive the Fountain. They're pushing forward, but no one gets onto Gabe O'Neal. He's actually doing some really big damage on Gabe O'Neal. Loses his mind, gets excited, too excited, rushes forward, loses his life. And now this is going to be a good fight for Dive the Fountain. Just
Dryzak's dead.
But maybe it's not a good fight for Dive the Fountain, as Craig puts out too much damage on the tail end here, and these team fights are impossible to keep track of as they happen, but it's a 4 for 4 with a full health Frag and a not full health Evelite squaring off at this mid lane turret.
These fights are so crazy. They just keep they just keep coming because everyone pressing their ultimate abilities on people. And how much do you say if East Coast carry is alive, Frag is able to be killed? Otherwise, I don't see a way for him to die or very much anything realistically. He hasn't built too much armor, which is the only reason he's been dying. So look out for East Coast carry in these next fights. I'm sure will happen. These guys love the skirmish.
Yeah, they sure do. These are 2 full teams of See Hero, Kill Hero players, for better and for worse. As, oops, coffee, whoopsie. We caught that, buddy. No escaping during the camera, catching all of your mistakes.
Yep, couldn't have used that for any of his 5 deaths previously. Coffee actually had a really good team fight last time, though. He blocked pretty much all of Gabe's damage early.
Yeah, now Space Force doing Space Force things. Getting caught out, but getting out.
Yeah, go fine. Doesn't have to blow ulti or anything, just loses half his health. For DTF to be looking for a 5v5 mid lane. Because macro. They should be setting up vision around Baron.
Yeah, they do get a slow off. Vladimir flanks in the frag, but then gets out. Yeah, Sinch coming in with the black shield. This is going to be a hard Sinch to handle, but some damage is coming down. They get off number 5 down early. Frag is very low. Frag is very dead. Now can they keep pushing this one forward? Ryzak was doing some zoning while this all happened, and this was actually a 2 versus 2 as these fights are being split totally. But this time, I think it is going the way of Dynamite. The carries both have all of their health. They're playing forward. Disenchanted pops the W for the slow. Captain Space Force gonna block the ace in the hole. And those two are going to make it out, but it is a 2 for 3 in favor of DTF, and importantly, they can finally push after a fight.
That was such a gross ulti out of Evilite, ulting back into the face of the Jinx. She didn't even have time to heal, she popped so fast. And this Echo pick's really working out for him. 6-1. He's doing so much better than last week.
Yes, he is big in all of these fights, whether they win or they lose. He is putting down massive amounts of damage. And this is not at all the same player we saw picking Castle last week. This is the Evelyn we saw every other week this season, where he's been carrying out of his mind to try to drag this team to a win. And he's got East Coast Carry joining him this week. And they are still very competitive in this game, which we have not been able to say a lot of weeks about DTF.
I'm just looking at the gold in his pockets. East Coast Carry has 2,500 extra. He's 4.5k gold up on the Jinx. So he's, even though Jinx does outscale this Caitlyn, he definitely.
It won't happen anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh, they do get a free mid.
Yeah, a bit of a macro whoopsie out of DTF. One thing with Table for 4 I want to talk about, I don't like the way they're utilizing the Sinch pick. It doesn't make sense to me that they've been grouping him so much. It's Sinch, he doesn't want to group. He wants to split push.
And he's shown he can kill Vladimir.
He can kill anyone 1v1. Like, there's no one that can even slow him down in a one-on-one, but they haven't been one-on-one-ing. They've been trying to really aggressively initiate fights like he's a Trundle or something. And it hasn't been working. At best, they've been going even in these team fights.
Yep, and he's gotten the Thorn Mail now, so he's hoping there'll be enough armor, but Caitlyn should be able to shred through just that. Jinx is caught out right now. Jinx isn't with them, so they're gonna get a free pick on Captain Space Force.
Space Force has the flash. Now Evelyn on the other side, playing aggressively, being engaged on. He's trying to 1v2 a nice ult. He's gonna juke out. I think Evelyn with the flash, he's being ghosted by Freg, but now Freg is getting very split from his team. And Evelyn, he had to pop over the summoners, but he got big summoners out of the enemy team. And this fight is going to continue in the mid lane.
5v5 Avram, my favorite. Just for popping summoners until the actual next fight where the fights will matter. And Evilite without his flash or cleanse could actually be pretty huge if Mord can catch a binding on him. Disenchanted ult should be up before that. It's very short cooldown at this point, 65 seconds, so.
Yeah, but as a kind of a smaller macro thing, Table for 4 did have both side lanes pushing there, but it synced up with their recalls after kind of losing that last engagement. So it gives, they had a chance where they could have pressured there, but instead DTF gets to clear side lanes for free. And
this break go 1v2 again.
Yeah, the mid game of nothing continues.
Yeah. Now it's just gonna go back to Vladimir going bot lane. In theory, DTF should have the advantage of being able to send Vladimir bot if they don't send Lissandra bot. But I'm pretty sure they're trying to group around this Lissandra pretty hard, so it's gonna be awkward.
Yeah, I don't think that TFF has the confidence to slow play the start of the team fights. They've been kind of going hard when they go, and that means the Soundra has to be there at the start, not split pushing in.
Like you were saying about this Inch, but in theory you want him to be split pushing, but since he brought the Ignite instead of Teleport, it's just worse.
Yeah, and this is the Frag conundrum. Frag gets you going early, but then you get to this point in the game, he doesn't know how to quite be effective, and I mean, honestly, I think his window's passed.
He could still be strong with 5 items, but much stronger than a 2-item Vladimir. However, it might not matter if they can just burst him down fast enough.
Yeah,
they've been shredding him for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll see. This game gonna keep going a little bit longer, extending my MVP chances, as both these teams gonna keep doing nothing around the mid lane. Eventually, somebody's gonna win a fight and take Baron.
Oh,
that's a big flash though. Gabe O'Neal has to pop the flash there, but now Table before trying to turn this, and everyone piles onto everyone in the mid lane. But Gabe O'Neal is getting the explosive rockets. This is just getting the AoE damage down, and this is a disaster for Dive the Fountain. I'm like, no, Dive for actually, this is not a disaster. Oh my god, now East Coast carry forcing a flash forward on a summoner 5. The ace in the hole comes out, it's a big chunk, it's just Frank is useless since left alive against East Coast carry. No, he's not useless because the Ignite is the way to kill. Now Frank wants his revenge. Can he get it? He's scared, he should be scared.
Oh, he's
a big hit, and he dies again to East Coast carry, the only man alive.
Oh man, this Storm Razor is actually doing so much. It's all started off because East Coast carry, he walked forwards on Gabe O'Neal, having to flash backwards from a Storm Razor rapid fire crit, and that did so much damage to him. That did like 3/4 of his HP, just knock him out of the fight instantly. And I don't know much about what to say in the middle of that. It was everyone just collapsing on top of each other. Evilite had to ulti out a little bit early. I don't even know if Disenchanted got his ulti out in that fight, but the fact that Disenchanted hasn't ulted East Coast carry yet is what's really worrying about these fights. Ooh.
Yeah.
Awkward.
It is awkward is the best way to put this game. I'm happy we have the stream quality to match quality of this game. But East Coast carry and Evilite combined 18 and 4 at the 30-minute mark.
What item is Sejuani building that requires 2 null magic mantles?
You tell me, dude. I don't know how items work anymore.
I'm trying to think.
In Swain Baddy League.
See.
As I think the dragon is going to get started here by Dive the Fountain. They do have the inside track, and getting onto this dragon, and actually Table for 4 will not get anywhere near in time. And 3rd dragon of the game, and first Earth going over to DTF, but now Table for 4 is opting towards the Baron. And they're not walking over wards, but there is a ward in the pit, so Dive the Fountain is gonna just let Evilite go push in this mid lane, just to get creeps caught up.
What was so good about that dragon was East Coast carry was able to put down traps to set it up.
But audio! Summoner 5 gets popped before he can do anything in the Morgana. Now Iceborne takes that world over, he still dies after flashing. This is yet another big awkward fight. Evilite was not in there at the start. His team caught him by surprise, but I don't know if it matters. Evilite looking for a flank here. Going in 1 versus 3, he wants to get a stun, but he won't. But Frag,
he still has ulti.
Just aggressively, he is big, but not big enough, and the Singe is going to make it out with just a sliver of health. Coffee, though, stop walking into the poison trail. But yet again, it is Evilite and East Coast carry alive to keep pressuring this advantage. It's a 2 for 2, but they don't have creeps anywhere, and they still can't do anything.
And all of this just to say that the team fight didn't actually matter. Also, the item that Kaiser is probably building is Adaptive Helm. I forgot about that one.
Alright, well,
it builds no magic mantle, and
we'll find out soon, I guess. I don't know
man.
if 30 if you need like a router restart or something. I don't know how bad the stream is. I don't have the stream up. I have all my cache stuff up on the second monitor.
Cannot see it either.
Yeah, as I say, I mean,
One mode.
if we have to restart a router in the middle of this game, I don't think the game is going to end while it's offline, the way these teams are playing. But that's 30's call, I guess. Could be something else, obviously. I will do my part to keep giving you guys accurate play-by-play, which is mostly just screaming it like a madman as I see 10 people pop in and AoE without anything overlapping.
Sitting on top of each other. The pick on Morgana was pretty important out of Kaiser at the beginning of the fight, but
yeah, for those of you looking for a way to watch the game, the spectate game in League clients, listen to stream, sync up is a pretty fun way to watch League of Legends if you're able to do so.
Yeah, just click pause, wait like 30 seconds, and you'll pretty much hear, or not pause on the stream, but
Yeah,
pause
ooh!
on the.
Ooh, everyone's going in! Someone in 5 goes! He's getting him off the side here, and he survives the pick this time. Now, how does this fight go? Without Evelite starting to with any help, Ryzak just got this fight. They've already lost Mr. Coffee. They are losing a lot of health on the side of DTF as the Jinx has got full health, getting off big auto attacks. Evelite and Ryzak pushing forward, trying to get out of the game. They get him at the end, but at what cost? Evelite, the only man left, and not for long. A quadra kill. Frank finally able to get the damage in one of these team fights. It's a 2 for 5 in favor of Table for 4, who will finally get a chance to push.
Yep. Evilite tried to start off that fight, but he got chunked for half his health and really wasn't effective throughout the rest of the fight. He looked for an ulti, but I think he could only hit the tanks with it, and in the end he ended up ulting backwards out of it. They're gonna get an inhib for this, even with some pushed in side lanes. This is a huge win for Table before to start getting rolling.
Yeah, finally they get an inhibitor down. This opens up some new macro plays for them. Maybe we finally see them start closing this game out. As their gold lead up to about 6,000 now.
Pretty much all on Freg, is it not?
Yes, actually, Freg has more than their gold lead. So, across, well, the average rest of the board they're behind, but then East Coast carry up about 6,000 on Gabe O'Neill. Those are kind of the two balancing factors. And that kind of plays up with how these team fights have gone. We see Freg finally get a big team fight, and it's a big win for Table for 4. But we've been seeing East Coast carry having a lot of big team fights in this game.
Yeah. He's gonna have to find another one here.
Yeah.
Bring them back.
I want to ask you, if this game goes very late, obviously the Jinx is going to outscale everyone in this game, but as 5 versus 5s go, do you think there's much of an advantage in either side?
Well, Singe is obviously not going to get any stronger. Caitlyn still isn't a bad late game champion. 6 items, Caitlyn does a ton of damage. AD Singes in general tend to do that, but it really just depends on who gets on who here.
Yeah, and well, this could be big because Avalanche is nowhere near this fight. They've already taken out the Vladimir, and this could be a game-losing mistake here. Frag and Gabe O'Neill are chunking out the damage. As Diva found, they held on for so long, but they get engaged without Avalanche, who has been doing so much to keep them in this game, to keep them in this season. But in the end, Avalanche clearing up creeps, has his team let him down yet again, and Table for 4 are going to rush this down mid-net.
Yeah, this game is over. This is the spectator client is just showing us what's going on in this 1v1, but you can see in the minimap bottom right, looks like they're just gonna...
It's down. Nexus down. And Table for 4 improved to 4-4. And guys, since we're going to be trying to get things set before this next game, I think we're going to skip the interview so we can try to be timely getting into the next game. Stream will be down for a few minutes here while we finish getting things sorted out, but stay tuned. We'll be back ASAP.